What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Critical Overlord here. We're going to be talking about Gremlins in this video here today. I'll just say Gremlins 3, since the third film could finally be materializing after years of development hell, thanks to a new report we got today from Deadline. But I want to start from the bottom, which probably goes a little bit further back than where I'm starting for the sake of keeping this video as short as possible. But let's start in 2017 and then work our way up to where we are now today. So back in 2017, Chris Columbus had this to say about the overdue project. He said, "I'm really proud of the script. It's as twisted and dark as anything, so we'll see. It's always a budgetary conversation when we're going to shoot it. I wanted to go back to the really twisted sensibility of the first movie. I found that was a very easy place for me to fall back into and start writing again, so hopefully we'll see that movie soon." He shared comments on jumping from puppets to CGI as well in this interview. He said, "Oh, without a doubt, minimal CGI. CGI will enable us to remove wires and make the puppeteers' lives a little easier. It was brutal. It was like a marathon every night for those guys. In the bar scene alone, there were 18 or 20 people behind the bar. No one had any space to move. It was just hellish for those guys. So CGI will simplify that a little bit, but it's all puppets." And then in 2018, when speaking to Metro UK, Columbus said this: "Gremlins, we're actively talking about that. So that's what I'm working on with my production company." And then he added, "It will almost definitely be a reboot." Now keep in mind that bit there, saying it will definitely be a reboot, because I don't think that's the case. In 2020, he said this to Collider. He said, "I would love to do it. I wrote a script. So there is an existing script. We're working out some rights issues right now. So we're just trying to figure out when the best time to make that film would be. I would still do it the same way. I would do it as tangible puppets, not CGI. Maybe having, we had one stop motion scene in the first Gremlins, but I don't think I'd use much CGI in Gremlins 3. Now, in between there, we might have gotten a few more comments. One more important comment from Zach Galligan I'll circle back to in a second. But what inevitably is, of course, driving this new discussion around Gremlins 3 and its long overdue possible finish line is the hit show that we have on Max. Now, I haven't watched this. I don't care to. Many of you might tell me down below in the comment section, "Oh, check it out. It's really good." I trust you. I just don't have an interest in watching animated shows the same way I did when I was a little boy. Now, that doesn't mean that when this film materializes, I won't watch the animated show, because I probably will want something to do while I wait for the next live action film, which is all I really care about. And another sick adventure with Gizmo and his many dark sides. Creatives involved with this series are even on record acknowledging that a live action film seemed like the next natural step. It seemed inevitable, and it does tie into what Zach was saying, who starred as Billy in the first two movies, was saying with Screen Rant in the interview late last year. So he said this about returning to live action not even a year ago with Screen Rant. He said, I really can't figure out why Warner Brothers would do 2 seasons, not 1, but 2 seasons of the animated series, spend a lot of money on it unless there was some kind of end game. And usually the end game for huge studios like Warner Brothers is a live action film." He added, "A live action film is always where you're going to make the most money. Super Mario Brothers just proved that. The end game probably will be, I'm hoping, a third film. I don't think it'll be a reboot though, because Chris Columbus has nixed that idea. He owns part of the rights." So a reboot, which was previously what they had pinned all that time ago, I guess is not going to be the case now. So something has been tweaked, something has been rewritten, and we could be getting a legacy sequel of sorts with Gremlins 3, which is what many people would have preferred anyway. And at the time, if it had dropped years ago, you wouldn't have to worry about it being a legacy sequel. Basically, you could argue this is the sequel that many people have been clamoring for years when it comes to Gremlins 3. So today we got this Deadline report that mentions Warner's upcoming slate of projects. It says franchise hopes abound down the road in Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, Practical Magic 2, DC's Clayface and Supergirl, Drew Goddard's incoming script for a new Matrix, a new Gremlins from Christopher Columbus, and a Goonies treatment. Now, I know the Goonies stuff, that comment seems to have already started a fire online. I think the Goonies is fine as it is. Many would argue the same thing with Gremlins. But this Gremlins project, I would hope, touches on an aspect that I know Columbus also brought up before. Not just him, I think it was a co-writer of his who brought this up. And that's exploring whether Gizmo deserves to be alive or not. I think that would be very dark. That could be a very dark thing to examine in a Gremlins 3. Because for one, however many years it is, there's got to be some sort of narrative that is started to linger around this animal, whatever it is. What is it, a Mogwai? I think that's their name. There has to be, with the era of social media and the way people are good at finding out things that back in the day they wouldn't have had access to. We have so much access to information now. So I would hope to see a narrative like that unfold on screen, in which you're examining, does this thing deserve to live because of the damage and the threat it poses to human civilization. So you could explore a very dark area in your film that way, which of course ultimately leads, I think that would be the catalyst. That's a perfect catalyst even. That would be the perfect catalyst to us getting to meet more of his many dark sides and seeing the likes of maybe another Spike and, or what, no, not Spike, Stripe, and then all the others that were featured throughout Gremlins 2, which of course I think only the lady one was alive. I would love to see that one back. I know there are a lot of fans for that character. So fingers crossed Gremlins 3 will materialize, but I think the best thing they could do from here would be exploring the narrative that was in his reboot idea, which I guess is not going to be a reboot anymore, but using the idea that maybe Gizmo doesn't deserve to be alive, and there could be some sort of commotion around his existence, and a group of people want to wipe him out, and their attempts to wipe him out, that's what sparks us meeting his many dark sides once again in a new generation that will get to experience it like never before, because it's been over, what, 30 years since the last Gremlins movie live action came out. But you guys let me know what you think about that down in the comment section below. What do you want to see for Gremlins 3? Do you think examining the idea of if Gizmo deserves to live or not is a perfect way to relaunch the IP? Let me know all that down below. If you haven't already, of course, make sure you subscribe, turn on post notifications, and name this video in the description. I have links on my social media accounts. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can message me there to let me know any movies, news, or reviews you'd like me to cover in the future. And with all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video.